this is my brother. He slept at my house all the time. Yeah. So now I'm looking for a job and I'm signing up and I'm, looking for interviews. I got my bachelor's and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go get a job. That's it. Baseball's over. I'm trying to find out what's next in life, but no one's calling me back, and this goes to everybody that goes out and gets degrees. I got nothing against them, but you're not guaranteed a job if you got a degree. Exactly. Yep. So I'm out here and I went to one of the top schools in New York, a private school. It goes by St. John's. I'm not sure if you're familiar with St. John's. Yeah. So I went to St. John's. That's a $50,000, $60,000 a year school, a very expensive school and great school in all areas. So I graduate, I have no job and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm living at my parents' house. I'm 23 years old, bro. My only allowance is what my mom and dad are giving me before they go to work, which is $10 each. And I had $20. I'm a 23-year-old man. So I'm trying to figure out, that's
not going to cut it.
Yeah, I know. And really those $20 was
in New York.
In New York. And that's for me to eat lunch while they were at work. So that was that. So now I'm sitting at home and my boy, he tells me, yo, Nano, come check out this thing that I'm doing. And he's like, yo, just come check it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It is what it is, bro. But I want you to be doing something. You're not doing nothing. And at this time, I'm lost, bro. Completely lost. I feel like a failure. I felt like I failed my mom, my dad, my neighborhood. I was that guy, bro. Everybody was counting on me to become the baseball player, retire the family. My whole neighborhood was always like, yo, Nano's our guy. This is the guy that's going to make it. And now I'm on these streets. I'm at home and it's like, yo, it's over, Nano. Like, the career's done. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you going to do now? So I'm trying to figure it all out. And my boy tells me, jump on this call. I hop on it and he brings me to an event as well. And I'm like, you know what? Let me give this a chance. And for me, it was just like, you know what? Let me try it in the meantime while I find a job. But then I realized as I'm in it, I'm like, yo, I can make the same amount of money that I was going to make playing professional doing this. Like, if I go all in this, I could make the 7 figures. I could make the 8 figures if I dedicate my life to this. And that's what I ended up doing because I saw people that were just like me, that came from similar backgrounds like me, doing those things already. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Find somebody that has what you want. Right. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a chance. And I gave it a chance, bro. And I've dedicated my life to it. And then from there was where I got into like the motivational speaking, because you kind of find your way through things and everything happened. But it started as, just me as a digital entrepreneur, network marketer. And I still do it to this day. I love what I do. I'm a professional at it now with what I do. But I build successful teams in over 15 different countries now. I got people all over the world trading and investing. My organization, we call it Alpha X Society. Our vision.
Alpha X Society.
Alpha X Society. And our vision behind it is, to help people become the best version of themselves and tap into their alpha state in all areas, mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, in all areas. And that's what we strive to do. So we don't just help people trade and invest and make money online. We also help people tap in with themselves physically. We're big on the gym. I mean, I don't know if you know, but the other day we brought like 20 people to the gym, No,
I didn't hear.
Yeah. We had it was like 15 of my team members. We brought them to do one of the pit classes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So it was awesome. And, I'm always so big on like, yo, let's become the best version of ourselves in all areas. So, that's what I've done. And then from there, kind of a lot of other doors open for me because I realized that mindset was the most important part of it all. And that's why I kind of became like the mindset.
You've read Mindset.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I had to read that. Yeah.
So I just had my whole staff read that. So
yeah, it's a great book.
It's so good.
So good. Yeah. So that's how it all started for me. And that's like a little bit about my business. And then obviously other doors opened from there and we was able to take advantage of them.
It's amazing. So tell me a little bit about motivational speaking and like your process. You get booked, you have to go speak to 5,000 people. Like what's the process for you?
Yeah. So for me, I have a lot of friends all over the world. And because I've built so many relationships and a lot of people who have came through my business, for example, my business isn't for everybody. I always tell people like, trading, investing, all these things and leadership is not for everybody. So a lot of what happens is a lot of these other people's, I'm a big relationship guy. So I keep my relationships really solid, the people that obviously are good to me and everything. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these people end up building other businesses. And then what ends up happening is because of the great relationship that we have and because of the things that I teach and what I was able to teach them, they invite me to like, hey, can you come speak to my sales team? Now they're doing life insurance, they're doing health, they're doing solar, they're doing real estate. I get invited all around the world to just teach people on the power of the mindset. And I also get invited for sales because I've been really good at sales and just building teams because my whole life I've built teams. Even before business, my goal in baseball was to build a strong team so we could go win a championship.
Right.
So my whole life I've been built around that. So nowadays people just invite me all around the world. You can book me on Instagram. Different people from all around the world just pick me, and random people. Like the other day, I got a phone call from, I don't know if you know YouTube. On YouTube, there's this page called Motivational.
Oh, yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, it's a really popular page for like motivational videos and stuff. And they gave me a call and they were like, yo, we see what you're doing. We love the content that you post. We're looking, he was looking to recruit other speakers, and now he wants me to do a gig with him. And,
awesome.
So I get books from all over the places, and sometimes I get invited to places around the world. Because my business is international, I get a lot of things, out in Europe as well. So I've been all over Europe, Amsterdam, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, France, all those places I've do it. And because I speak Spanish as well, it helps me because I go to places like Portugal, Spain, and I'm able to do it in English and Spanish. So it just kind of like worked out for me, because especially in those countries, there's not a lot of motivational speakers out there. Over here, we have a lot of them. Over there, there's not a lot of them. So, they look at us as like, we are their, Jim Rohn or those people. Yeah. We are those people for them over there. Like, we're those big names. So for me, they look at me as one of those individuals that is able to go out there and speak for them. So and then I'm also young. I can relate with them a lot. I haven't really got there yet. So like, I'm in the process of becoming that best version of me. So people just find me and they book me everywhere, bro. And it's been awesome.
And then as far as your like processes for like before you speak, do you have any kind of like process that you use before you speak? Yeah. Or you just like do your thing?
No, it depends. Like if, for example, let's say you wanted me to come speak to the employees here at No Days Off or, at Legacy, I would actually like, what do you feel like they need, or what are the areas that you feel like they're lacking? And so I go based off of what the person needs and what I feel like I can help them out. And I'll add my extra sauce and my extra 2 cents in there. But for the most part, I go based off of what they feel like, their weaknesses are, or where they feel like, they've been lacking at. And then I develop a whole training around that. So I'll sit down and I'll create a training that can cover all specific points, while also adding what's important to me in there as well, and giving like certain references and also adding stories, because they say facts tell, but the stories sell. Yeah, so I love telling stories in between. So like, I'll give you a fact, but I'm also going to tell you the story, how I related to it, so I could also relate with them as well. So that's key for me as well.
Yeah, being relatable is huge.
It's huge. Yeah, huge. So I love the stories. Stories are big.
What is the poor mindset, and how did you change that mindset to take advantage of opportunity in front of you?
Poor mindset is big. I remember learning it very early on, because I was one that had poor mindset. When we talk about poor, it's not poor, in terms of money. It means poor, P-O-O-R, means passing over opportunities repeatedly. And in life, we get presented a lot of opportunities, but we pass up on them because, we're too scared, or we have fear, we have doubt, we have insecurities. And I was somebody that was like that. I would pass up on a lot of opportunities. For example, people would refer me a book, I wouldn't read it. That's a missed opportunity. People would invite me to an event, I would have missed the opportunity. And in life, you get presented these specific opportunities, and if you don't take advantage of them, then you're passing up on them. Right. And a lot of people in life, they live their lives with the poor mindset, always missing opportunities after opportunity. Waking up early is an opportunity for you to start your day correctly. Yep. And if you don't do it, that's passing over an opportunity. Right. So I was like, okay, how can I become somebody that, takes advantage of every opportunity that God gives me? So I changed that. I'm like, okay, every opportunity that God gives me, I'm going to take it. So waking up early was one of the first things I said, I got to start taking advantage of waking up early. I started waking up early. Book recommendations, I started reading them right away. Events I had to go to, things I had to do. I would always just start taking advantage, bro. And I can tell you right now, it changed everything for me, because I stopped passing up on opportunities. And when I wasn't, and because I wasn't passing up on opportunities, now I was taking advantage of all my opportunities, which caused me to learn, meet new people. It helped me grow my awareness, grow my consciousness, and it just elevated me incredibly. But the poor mindset is something that a lot of people need to change in life, because it holds them back so much.
And I think most of the time people do not take advantage of opportunity because they put a price on the opportunity. So they say, oh, what am I getting paid? Or what's in it for me?
What's in it for me? Yeah.
Instead of just the experience and what could come from it, and there's so many people that just need to act Act, try, do, like just be active.
All right, guys, let's get today's call started. Let's get this started. I know we're starting a little bit behind schedule. My YouTube needed an update, so I really couldn't start at the time I wanted, but we made it work and we are here, guys. Grand Rising. Happy Thursday. Super excited to be here. If everybody can hear me, see me good, can I get a 1 in the chat? If everybody can hear me, see me good, let's get a great call started up here. I'm looking forward to this great call. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be one that I really look forward to. Because we're going to be talking about you today. We're going to be talking about me today. We're going to be talking about ourselves today and what's called the most important product in life, right? Who is the most important product that we're going to study this our whole lives? And it's you, it's me. And I've got this training from this amazing book that I'm currently reading, which is called Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. And let me tell you guys, this I already know is going to be one of the highlights of my year. This book is absolutely amazing. I've already gotten so many breakthroughs from it. But the chapter that I've just finished reading was one of the most important chapters, and it was so good. And I was like, man, I gotta talk about this on Mornings with Nano. I gotta do a whole training on this on Mornings with Nano, because, man, what do we talk about here? We talk about personal development. And here is Patrick Bet-David. And I don't know if you guys know this individual, but he is a billionaire. All right. This is somebody who's extremely wealthy. I don't know if he's hit his billions yet, but I know he's in the multiple 9 figures already. He owns a percentage of the Yankees. He built a very successful sales business and literally came from nothing. His story is absolutely amazing. And, it's amazing how when you actually take a look, and, so many people always want to focus on the money and this and all of that other stuff. But he literally says in the book, the most important product that we could all study is ourselves. This is coming from one of the most successful entrepreneurs of our time. He's telling us the most important product you could study is you. This is the most important part. And this is why I dedicate my life to personal development. This is why Mornings with Nano is Mornings with Nano. As a matter of fact, it's funny that I say that because today is actually a Mornings with Nano anniversary. Now that I look at the date, every 20th of every month is a Mornings with Nano anniversary. Mornings with Nano started on June 20th, 2019. So we're looking at right now, this is 5 years and 9 months. 5 years and 9 month anniversary for Mornings with Nano. April will be 10 months, May will be 11 months, and then June will be a 6-year anniversary for Mornings with Nano. I've been doing these calls consistently now for 5 years and 9 months. Today, March 20th, guys. 5 years and 9 months, and it just goes to show. And to be honest, guys, you know how this all started? Before I get into my training here, the way that this all started was basically a group of friends, a group of people that I was mentoring at the time. They asked me to start a morning call to help them. They're like, yo, we've been seeing you do your morning routine. Look at how life works. Look at how God works. Just in case you've never heard the story of how it all works. Around this time, listen to how life is and look at how God works in very beautiful ways. This is why I tell people that the months of March, April, and May are the golden months of the year. Back in 2019, I made a decision that I was going to go on a 90-day run from like right now till the summer. I remember I had started my year off a little slow. January and February were a little bit of slow months for me. And there was something inside of me that said, yo, you know what, Nano? March, April, May, bro, go give it everything you have. Like, just go all in on yourself. Like, enough is enough. Like, it's time to go all in on you. So I decided that in March, April, and May, I was going to go all in on my personal development. This meant zero music. only audios and podcasts. I was reading every single day. At this point, I actually committed to reading a book a week. That's how obsessed I was. So this is what I would do. For example, I would open up this book. All right, this book right here has, and I don't even do that today, but I was so obsessed and I was so tapped in with everything. This book right here has a total of, let me see right here, finishes on this page. So I would get every book, and let's say this book, here it goes. It has 270 pages. So what I would do is I would open up my calculator. I was so obsessed with becoming better because I was sick and tired of my situation. I would go 270 pages divided by 7. Boom. That meant I had to read about 38 pages a day, 40 pages a day. And that's it for the day. I already knew that I had to read 40 pages a day. So now I knew, okay, Nano, let's read 20 pages in the morning, 20 pages at night. If you do that every day for the next 7 days, you'll finish the book. So I was doing that with every book that I was reading. I became so obsessed with the idea of I need to learn as much as I can so I could do more and so I could earn more. So for those 90 days in March, April, and May, I was waking up early. I was doing my reading. I was, only listening to audios. Like I literally cut off all music. I couldn't listen to no music at all. No music at all. I couldn't listen to no music. At any time of the day, I had to always be listening to a podcast or somewhat of an audio book or anything. So while I was in the shower, while I was, in the car, anytime, any dead zone that I would usually listen to music, it was all audios. I needed to feed my mind. I was doing a lot of visualization. I was in the gym. So it was a very personal time for me. And for 90 days, I did that. And I just did a lot of work on myself. June came around. And I wish I had my journal here, the one that actually I started journaling with, because the day right before God gave me my blessing, I had a tough day. I have this journal back home at my mom's place. And I remember I jumped on a call with a couple of my leaders at the time for my business. And, they were telling me like, hey, bro, like we've been seeing you do this morning routine every single day. Like you've been on point. You've been reading all these books. You've been vibrating higher. We can feel your energy on Instagram. We can feel your energy in the chats. It seems like everything is working for you now, bro. Would you mind waking up in the morning and helping us start our day the same way? That was the idea behind it. That's how it all started. Mornings when this call that you guys see today, that's how it all started. It started by, a couple of my leaders just asking me like, hey, would you mind waking up, and just helping us start our day, teaching us what you're learning, teaching us about your morning routine. And I'm like, me being the yes man that I am, I'm like, yeah, bro, no problem. Tomorrow we'll start 9 a.m. We start tomorrow, 9 a.m., no problem. And we started it. And in the beginning, they were called morning masterminds. That's what it was called. And the purpose of the call was for people to jump on, 30 to 45 minutes. I teach you about a little bit, and it was only mindset. So I wanted it to be strictly all about mindset and personal development. And it started that way. And next thing you know, the morning mastermind started as, mornings just like that. And then next thing you know, it turned into mornings with Nano. Then it started to become something that people shared with other people. And I was only supposed to do it for the summer. The goal was only to do it for the summer from June to September. And then after I did it for the summer and I started to like announce that, hey, after this week, mornings with Nano was going to stop. I had so many people because I announced it. And some of you guys probably weren't there when I did this, but I announced that, there was a week in September. It was like the first week of September that it was going to be the last week of Mornings with Nano because the intention was to just do it for the summer. So I did it all summer, 5 days a week, every day, Monday through Friday. At the time, back then, it was 9 a.m. Now we do 10:30 a.m. And then, we did it that way. And then when I started to announce that I was going to stop it, people were literally reaching out to me, coming to me in person, begging me to please don't stop doing mornings with Nano, that it changed their life, that they're better because of it. I even had somebody come up to me and share with me that she stopped from committing suicide because she jumped on one of my calls, and how much it was doing for people and all these other things. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, like people, like for me, it was just a morning call. Like back then, I didn't think of anything of it, but I was like, yo, like because I'm doing these morning calls, I'm changing people's lives. And people literally begged me not to stop. And they basically convinced me to keep going. And I'm like, all right, whatever, bro. We're going to keep doing them for the rest of the year. Why not? You know, I already love doing them anyways. And I would have never thought that a call that started with the intention just to help a couple of my people help get their day started would then I would still be here 5 years and 9 months later. So think about that. I've never stopped doing mornings with Nano. I've always done this. Maybe I've not been able to do it every single week because there's been times that I've been on tours all over Europe. But in terms of like the time frame, I've never stopped doing mornings with Nano. I've never completely paused and said, hey, I'm not doing mornings with Nano anymore. I've always done mornings with Nano every single week over the last 5 years and 9 months, guys. And I've dedicated my life to this. This is my purpose. And it's to help people awake themselves, become more aware, become more conscious, okay? Tap in with themselves, learn the spiritual side of success, help them get closer to God. Like in Mornings with Nano, I found my purpose. And yes, today, a lot of amazing things have stemmed from it, from public speaking engagements to podcasts, to courses, to coaching, to all these great things. But it all started with one idea. And the reason I share that with you guys is because sometimes your biggest breakthrough is on the other side of you committing 100% to you. I always tell that to everybody a lot. Some people listen to me, some people don't. But when you actually 100% commit to your personal growth, your whole life is going to change. I'm telling you. You got to commit 100% to you. And that's what our training is all about today, which is what I learned in this book. Just recently. He says the whole chapter 2 of this book. All right. Chapter 2 is titled Study the Most Important Product, which is you. All right. And I was able to develop a little 4-point training for you here today on how it is that you can start studying you. All right. So if you guys are ready for this 4-point training, put a 4 in the chat box if you guys are ready for this. Who's ready for this? Let me know. Who's ready? Let me see. I think we got some people over here on IG. What's up, my IG fam? Get ready. We got a good one on the way. Amazing. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Yeah, I love this solo sweater right here. Solo means see outside life's obstacles. That's what solo stands for. See outside life's obstacles. Pretty fire. It's my boy. And it's funny how I met this guy. At one of those food festivals. We showed each other love, and next thing you know, we were brothers. Crazy how life works. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about point number 1. All right. How do we study the most important product, which is you, right? Number 1 is you got to know yourself better than anyone else. You know, the most important product you will ever sell is yourself, says Patrick Bet-David. And you got to understand that before you can lead others, before you can build a business, before you can create a lasting impact, you need deep self-awareness in yourself, knowing you. And this is something that we all, if you haven't taken the time to do, you need to take the time to know yourself, right? You need to know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. Does everybody here know what their strengths and weaknesses are? Do you know what your emotional triggers are? Do you know your risk tolerance? Do you know your core values as a person? You see, these are things that you got to take the time to know about yourself, because as I was reading the book, right? I was reading something here. Let me read it to you guys. He has these bunch of quotes that I love, by the way. He says, "The most difficult thing in life to know is yourself. There are 3 things extremely hard to sell. There are 3 things extremely hard: steal, a diamond, and to know oneself." That's a pretty good quote right there. And you, when will you begin that long journey? That was by Rumi. There's another one here. "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. When I discover who I am, I'll be free. At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want. So he put a bunch of quotes there that basically represent that some of the biggest thought leaders of our time always said that us investing into us, getting to know ourselves, is the most important thing that we'll ever do in life. But how many of us have actually taken the time to actually know ourselves, to study ourselves? These were things I've had to do over the years. I had to study myself. I had to study my limiting beliefs. I had to study why I was not confident in myself. Where did those limiting beliefs come from? Why was I holding myself back all those years? What were my emotional triggers? How much was I willing to risk? Okay, these were a lot of things I had to learn over the years that were very important. I was somebody, for example, I knew what my strengths were, but I also knew where my weaknesses were. But I had to study them. I had to see, okay, Nano, these are my strengths. This is what you're good at. Bam, 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 bam. But here are your weaknesses. These are your weaknesses. And I would have to develop myself in those areas. My goal was always to make my strengths stronger and make my weaknesses better, because I had a lot of weaknesses back when I first started, the entrepreneurship journey and all of that stuff. And I still have weaknesses till this day that I'm still working on. Nowadays, I either work on my weaknesses or I delegate my weaknesses, which is the beauty of it. I know what are my emotional triggers. I've actually worked so much on emotional triggers because I don't like to get triggered. Being triggered sucks, okay? Because you act out of character when you get triggered. So I know my emotional triggers now, and I actually also know how to prevent myself from, going too deep into my emotional triggers, because that's important. I know my risk tolerance, how much risk I'm willing to take. I'm a risky person. That I don't recommend everybody to be like Nano. I can tell you that much, because I take all the risk in the world. I'm the type of person to go all in on something. I'm the type to just risk it all for the biscuit. That's who I am. I love taking risks, but not everybody's like that. I know people that can't take the same risk that I could take, because some people have kids. Some people have, other situations to take care of. I love taking risks. I'm the type of person to go, for example, I put my life savings into crypto a couple months ago. My life savings, put it all into crypto. I said, you know what? Let's do it. It is what it is. If it goes, it goes. But if it goes to the moon, we probably won't ever have to. This life savings is gonna be pretty nice, but that's the risk I'm willing to take. That's just me. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. What's the worst that can happen? Okay, these are the things these are the type of risk when I was in my entrepreneurship journey, when I started, right? I didn't work a job. So I had to take a risk. And you know what my risk was? I went and got a credit card. I remember I went to Bank of America. Bank of America approved me for a $7,500 credit, and I took the full 7,500. And you know what I did? I invested it all into myself. I maxed out the credit card in a 6-month period. I invested it into books. I invested it into events. I invested it into, my image, buying suits, making sure I looked good. I invested it into a lot of different things, and I maxed it out over a 6 to 12-month period. Nobody go do this and say, hey, Nano told me to go max out my credit card. No, 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 no. Those were risks I was willing to take because I believed in myself. I said, one day I'll pay this off. And thankfully today we've paid that off. But that was the risk I was willing to take. I'm like, yo, you know what? I need to invest. I'm not going to go work a job. So let me use credit. And I took that credit and I invested it into me. And it worked out, because guess what? All those events I went to, all those mentorships, all those books that I bought, all those, suits that I bought, it put me in the right situation that I needed to be. Right? I was willing to take that risk. I was okay with that. I was at peace with all the risk I was willing to take. So you got to know your risk tolerance. I'm the riskiest person. I'm one of the riskiest persons you'll ever meet, guaranteed. I love the rush. I love the rush of the risk, because I know that in life, if you don't take risk, you'll never make it. And I've heard it so many times from some of the most successful people in the world that if you don't take risk, you won't make it in life. So you got to be willing to take risk. Okay. And that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of yourself. You got to find out who you are. You got to find out who you are. And that's what the book says. He says, he says something in this book that really touched me. He says this, let me see. He says, I'm going to continue to remind you that you are the most important person to study. It's the only person you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life is you. You're the only person that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. So you got to keep this in mind. This is so key. So I started to study myself. And I think that this is something that a lot of you guys need to start doing as well, right? You need to start studying yourself each and every single day. Study who you are, study your strengths, study your weaknesses, especially if you don't know them. Like if I was to ask you right now, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Can you sit down and give me a list breakdown of what those strengths and weaknesses are? If I was to ask you, hey, what are your emotional triggers? Can you tell me what your emotional triggers are? Right? Could you tell me what your emotional triggers are? That's something that, you got to keep in mind. Do you know your risk tolerance? Do you know your core values? These are the things that we want to become aware of, because this is what life is all about. Take the time to study you. My life changed when I started to study myself. Doors opened for me once I started to study myself. My belief, my confidence, everything changed. My business changed. My relationships changed. Everything changed when I started to dedicate time to me. The problem with nowadays is that people know celebrities and other people more than they know themselves. I promise you that. Today, people know other people more than they know themselves. They know celebrities, they know artists, they know everything else except themselves. We got to change the focus and put the focus on us. Let's put the focus on us this year. You want this to be the best year of your life, then guess what? It's going to take you focusing on you. It's 11-11. That's how true everything I'm saying is. That's how in alignment everything is that I'm saying right now. You're going to be your biggest project. You're going to be your biggest investment. And this is so important. That's why I journal. This is why I journal, so I could get to know myself more. That's why I read. That's why I meditate. That's why I read the Bible. That's why I pray. That's why I go to church. That's why I do the things that I do. That's why I'm working on my body right now. That's why I paid for a trainer. My mentor once told me, he said, Nano, he said, any money you invest into you is never wasted. Never ever wasted. You see all those books you buy, all the groceries you buy that are high, more expensive than others, and high quality food and trainers, anything that's going to be for you, it's never lost. Invest into you. Don't ever feel bad for investing money into you. Never. I know a lot of people that feel bad for investing into themselves. Oh, it's too much money. Oh, no, I can't. I can't go to that event. Oh, no, I can't buy that suit. Yo, I'm always investing into me. Bro, I buy, like, for example, I love wearing nice suits. Bro, I just bought another suit literally a couple days ago. It just arrived, as a matter of fact. I gotta go see it tomorrow. Just bought another suit. I'm always buying. So because it's my image, I gotta invest back into myself. I got a trainer, I hired a trainer. Why? Because I needed to get my body to tip-top shape. When I go buy groceries, I go to the best grocery store that I know that sells only the highest quality products. Why? Because I'm investing into myself. I'm always buying books. Okay? Always buying books. I just bought this book. As a matter of fact, I went and sat down with one of my mentors and business partners the other day. He recommended me a book. As he's recommending me the book, I'm on Amazon buying the book and sending it to my house, and I got it here. It's called Stealing Fire. Another one. I'm always investing back into myself. Always, 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 at all times. Here in Miami, there's weekly networking events. I'm always going to these events, paying high top dollar, paying $200 for tickets just to go network, just to go meet people, investing back into myself at all times of the day, of all times of the week. You gotta be that type of person, guys. You have to invest into you, because the question that once woke me up was when my mentor asked me, he said, let me ask you a question. He said, how much money is going towards your rent? And I told him, he was like, how much money is going towards this? How much money is going towards this? How much money is going towards that? How much money goes towards food? How much money goes towards that? And I'm asking, and he's asking me these questions, and I'm like, yeah, this amount, this amount, this amount. He said, let me ask you a question now. How much money goes towards yourself? And I'm like, what do you mean? All of that goes towards me. He's like, no, 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 no. He's like, how much of that is invested into your knowledge so that you can know more, become better, and be a better version of you? And I started to think, and at the time, it was barely nothing. And I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, and I'm like, I'm trying to come up with a number because I know that this is a trick question. Now, I just realized that I set myself up. And he told me, like, yo, be honest. Like, how much of it, how much money do you invest into yourself every month? And I'm like, bro, to be honest, not much. He like, you see, that's the problem. So that's your biggest problem right there. You have money for everything else but yourself. And the only way that your life changes is if you change, but you're not investing into you. You're not planting any seeds. You're not putting anything into you. How are you going to grow? Your life will always be like this if you don't take the time to invest back into you. You know, it was hard mentorship. It was mentorship that I needed to hear. He like, you got money for clothes. You got money to go out with your friends. You got money for your phone bill. You got money for your, for people, if you got a car, you got money for rent. You got money for this. You got money for that. But you don't have money to buy yourself some books. You don't have money to pay for an event to go to. You don't have money for a trainer. You don't have money for things that have to do with you. You don't have money for courses. You don't have money for this. So how are you going to know more? And if you don't know more, it means you can't do more. And if you can't do more, that means you can't earn more, which means you stay in the same place. He said, in order for you to become more, you have to learn more. Because when you learn more, you're able to do more. And when you do more, you earn more. And that was all I needed to hear. In order for me to become more, I had to learn more. When you learn more, you do more. And when you do more, you earn more. I was like, that was a breakthrough moment for me, because I realized that I wasn't learning enough. That's why they say put your pockets into your mind and your mind fills up your pockets. You guys ever heard that one? Put your pockets into your mind and your mind will fill up your pockets. I've invested 6 figures into me. I could confidently say I've invested 6 figures into myself over the years, because I've been studying myself more than ever before. And let me tell you, studying the Bible recently has been even more, because what a lot of people don't know about the Bible is this: all the personal development books that we read all come from the Bible, the majority of them. And Bible, the acronym for Bible, Bible, is basic instructions before leaving earth. Basic instructions before leaving earth. That's the key. How many of us are taking the time? And look, guys, I just started reading the Bible like 2 years ago. I read 100 personal development books before I read the Bible. And that's facts. I read over 100 books before I read the Bible. So trust me, I can tell you guys right now, the Bible's unbelievable. But you got to go through it. You got to study it. So point number 1 is you are the most important product. Okay, you got to know yourself better than anyone else. That's number one. Number two, define what drives you. Define what drives you. What drives you? What's your deep burning desire? Because understanding what truly motivates you is essential, because it's going to dictate how you respond to challenges. Right? There's different type of drives that we all have. We all have family drives. We have competitive drives. We have problem solving drives. And we have money drives. For example, right? My family drive is my mom and dad. My family drives me. That's where it all started for me. Who here wants to provide a better life for their family? Put a 2 in the chat if you want to provide a better life for your family. You got to understand what drives you, guys. What's going to keep you going when it all goes bad? I want to provide a better life for my family. I was with my mom, as some of you guys may have seen. I just spent a whole week with my mom. It was absolutely amazing. And I was on the phone with one of my boys yesterday. He was asking me, yo, how was it with mom, the whole nine? And I like, yo, it's been amazing, bro. Like, I loved it. But I told him, but I was like, yo, after she left, I feel an intense amount of focus in going harder now. Because walking around Miami with my mom, and she gave me a big perspective. She was happy, she was excited, and I was saying this to my private group yesterday, but it also made me sad, because in her eyes, because she's already in her 60s, she's like, none of this is possible for people like us. Like, she was telling me, son, like, this is awesome, this is all beautiful, but we'll never be able to live that. We're poor, we come from the bottom, and she believes that, and it breaks my heart that she believes that, we grew up poor, and that's going to be our life for the rest of our lives. Like, in her eyes, that's it. Like, those things weren't for people like us. Like, we won't drive $500,000 cars, we won't live in $1 million condos on the water. Like, that stuff doesn't exist for us. And I remember her kind of telling me those things, and I remember just telling her, like, mom, one day I'm going to be picking you up in these cars. One day, we're not just going to be looking at these condos. We're going to own one of these condos, and you're going to be coming to hang out and make mango for me at these condos right here. And she laughs and stuff. And, she laughs. She like, si Dios quiere, one day, if God allows it, whatever it is. But I could see that she doesn't believe it. Like, she says it to be nice to me type thing, like, hijo, one day, maybe, whatever, if God allows it. But the fact that she doesn't see it is what inspires me to go harder, because I want her to know that we are going to do that. We are going to accomplish those things. So when things get hard, that drives me. The reminder of my mom doesn't believe that life is for us. That inspired me. For her to say that to me, like sheesh, bro. Like, I remember the other day, I almost started crying just by myself sitting in the car. I almost started crying, I almost started shedding a tear, because I'm like, yo, like, bro, Neno, we got to go harder than this, bro. Your family is counting on you. Your mom, your dad, your little brother, everybody's counting on you to make a difference, bro. How could we ever stop? How could we not be working on ourselves? How could you ever think about taking a day off? How could we be sleeping in? How could you be not reading every day, doing the work every day, stepping out of your comfort zone every day, if you got people counting on you right now? That's the thing that blows my mind when I think about it. It's like, we got people counting on us, and we're complaining about having to wake up early, about having to build a business, about having to do this, about having to do that. So then how do you plan on taking your mom and dad, or the people that you love, out of the situation that they're currently in? When things get hard, you stop. That's not, you need to have something that's going to drive you. That's what drives me. That's why I never stop. That's why I never, ever stop. No matter how hard things have gotten for me, I've never stopped. Because I know my mom is counting on me. I know my dad is counting on me. She was telling me, she's like, yo, we here, you know. I always tell people, you know, we're born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our choices. If you were born poor, it wasn't your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault. I told my mom, all the generational curses end with me. I'm paying that whole price in full for all the ancestors that came before me. I'm paying that bill. I don't care. After me, we all rich and wealthy after this, after my generation. That's it. Like, that's it. I'm paying that bill. I'm taking responsibility for that. I was chosen for it. I was the one that was put in position. Every single person that came before me was making all the sacrifices to put me in this position that I'm in today. So I am not going to take that for granted. And if you're on this call and if you're listening to this as well, you're one of those people as well. You were chosen. You're the chosen one. Are you going to take that and run with it, or are you going to run from it and pass it on? Because that's the thing. If you don't do it, then it gets passed on to your kid. And to be honest, I don't want to pass this to nobody. This is my responsibility. That's why I haven't even had kids yet. So people ask me, hey, Nano, you gonna have kids? Yeah, I'm like, don't talk to me about kids right now. Let me figure this out right here first. Give me another couple of years. I got this. I got this figured out. I just need a couple more years. I'm almost there. I'm almost gonna crack the code. After that, we'll start families. We'll have a wife, kids, the whole nine. But right now, we have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of work. We have a lot of work to do. I got families to retire. I got to make sure everything is in position. I got curses to break. I got things to pay. I got to make sure everything is in place for us. And I'm not playing these games, guys. This is why I do this. So you got to have something that drives you. Family drive. There's a competitive drive. The competitive drive is the competitiveness within you to want to be the best. I want to be the best at what it is that I do. I want to be the best network marketer. I want to be the best bilingual motivational speaker. I want to be the best life coach. I want to be the best at what it is that I do. I want to have the best version of my body. The other day, somebody was telling me, oh, yo, Nano, you know, you're 30, bro, you're getting old. And I kind of was aggressive with that. I'm like, yo, listen to me. Listen to what I'm going to tell you right now, bro. Don't ever speak those words over my body or over my energy. I'm not old. I'm young. I'm full of life. Okay? Don't be telling me I'm old because I'm 30. I'm actually young. I'm blessed and abundant and living my absolute best life. Don't impress those society thing that once you turn 30 you're getting old. No, not me, bro. I'm blessed. I'm young. I'm full of life. I'm now starting my life. Okay? I'm filled with life. All right? So I live that way. I told them, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be 50. I'm going to be 60 years old running marathons. Don't tell me that I'm old, my brother. I'm going to be 60 running marathons. No cap. I'm going to be 60 traveling the world. All right. This is all, remember, it's all a state of mind. Don't let people impress their things on you. Never. I'm a competitive person. I want to be the best. I want to live to 100. It's one of my goals of life, live to 100. I don't know about you guys, but I want to live to 100. That's why you got to get rich, because I want to be like LeBron James. I want to be like LeBron James, investing $1 million a year into his body. Imagine that, bro. Imagine having enough money where you can invest $1 million a year into your health and your wellness. I want to do that for me. I want to do that for my mom. I want to do that for my dad. I want to do that for us. But you know what? It takes money. It takes money to invest that money into yourself. There you go. I'm turning 42 and I feel great. I look and feel great. Amen. That's the attitude. That's all it is. That's the type of mindset I have. How can I get to the point where I'm investing $1 million a year into my health? That's the goal. You know how amazing that'll be if I could when I could start telling here, let me put 500K to the side. 500K for you, mom, 500K for you, dad. This is for your health. We're going to get the state-of-the-art #1 health services in the world to make sure that I buy you guys another 20 years of life. If you got money, you could do it. I want to make sure you guys are healthy, in the best shape of their lives. Any surgeries needed, the best nutritions. I want to eventually, I say this to people. I'm like, yo, eventually I'm going to have a chef at my house only making me the highest quality foods. Only the highest quality healthcare. Only the highest quality everything. But you know what it takes? It takes money. It takes money. One of my friends, he's super rich, and he told me, he was like, yo, when you start making money, Nano, and you start making like big paper, this is for big paper. You got to be a millionaire to be like this. Like, I'm gonna start taking you to the retreat centers in Switzerland where all the Asian people be going to live to 100. You're like, there's these retreat centers that you can go to. It's like these hotels. You got to pay like $30,000-$40,000 just for the weekend, but they'll do all the tests on you that you need so that you can live longer. They can start to analyze certain things in your life. You're like, bro, you got to see it to believe it. But you need 40K for a weekend. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't got 40K, you can't step in there. And remember, that's 40K just to spend it, here. You need paper. If you don't have paper, you can't step in there. There's no discounts on that kind of stuff. So that motivates me because I'm like, I know I'm going to get there. So you got to have a competitive drive. You got to have a problem solver drive. My problem solving drive is that I'm teaching people how to make money from their phones. That's one of the biggest problems we have in the world right now. Everybody has a phone, but only 6% of people are making money from their phones. How does that make sense? How does it make sense that everyone in the world has a phone, a laptop, an iPad, but only 6% of people are making money from it? That's bad if you think about it. It's really bad. Where you have, out of 100 people, only 6 people are making money from their phones. It's not good. I think I got it wrong. I think there's a little bit more, but I know only 6% of people are investing in crypto. Only 6% of people are investing in crypto. And it breaks my heart when I hear stuff like that, because it's like that's where the world is headed. We're headed into a digital world, but nobody knows what to do. Nobody has digital skills. Nobody has no digital skills. Nobody is investing into learning how to use AI intelligence. Talk about investing. The other day, I paid for a course on an app that you can learn how to use all the new AI that's coming out. And every day you have a different lesson. I pay like $20 a month now. It's like $20-$30 a month. And I'm paying for this thing that's helping me learn how to use all the different AIs within my phone. So recently I've learned how to use ChatGPT. Right now I'm learning how to use Jasper. Tomorrow, I think today, I forgot which one it is. I'm on like day 3 of what I'm learning how to use, but now I'm learning how to properly use all these different AIs. Guys, AI is the future of where we're going. If you don't learn how to use AI, AI will use you. So those are things that drive me. I want to learn these things. I want to learn everything that's happening in the digital space. Okay. So these are the things that I'm becoming aware of. I'm like, okay, Let me invest back into me. Let me learn these things. Let me solve the problem. Majority of the world doesn't know how to use AI. Majority of the world doesn't know how to make money online. Let me be the one that provides a solution to that problem. I don't know the app off the top, to be real with you guys. If not, I would have told you guys right now. But it's an app, and you pay like $30 for it. I think I paid like $30 for it, and it literally teaches you how to use. It's like a 30-day challenge where every day it teaches you how to use a different AI that is out. So it'll teach you how to use all the different AIs and how to use them and what they're meant for and all of that stuff. And I'm gonna learn that. Why not? I gotta learn it. You gotta learn it. That's an asset now. That makes me more valuable to the marketplace because I'm gonna know how to use all the different AI intelligence softwares that are out there. Learn how to put yourself ahead of the game. Okay, learn how to use these things. All right, so you got to have all these different type of drives. You got to have a money drive. Like I said, a money drive is key. Money drive is key because we all need financial freedom. We all need to break generational curses and create generational wealth. We all have to. That's the beauty of it. So what drives you? That's number 2. Number 3, so we can wrap it up here. All right. It says develop an obsession with self-improvement. Develop an obsession with self-improvement. This is what he says in the book. He says, every top entrepreneur and leader is obsessed with learning and growth. If you want to elevate your life, listen to this right here, right? If you want to elevate your life, you need to invest in reading and education. He says the top CEOs read 50 books a year. You heard that? 50 books a year. The top CEOs read 50 books a year. He said, you got to do mentorship and coaching, learn and invest into people who are ahead of you, and new experiences. Travel, go network, expand your thinking. It's what I was talking about earlier. For example, I just paid somebody to coach me on how to build a speaker business. You know how much it costs? Thousands of dollars. I had to pay to play. He is ahead of me. He's spoken on over 700 stages. He's been doing it for over 10 years. I'm going to pay for his knowledge. I don't care what it costs. I'm willing to pay. Even if it's in a payment plan, I'll invest back into myself. Why? Because I believe in myself. I'm obsessed with self-improvement. Think about it, guys. The top CEOs read 50 books a year. How many books are you reading a year? See what I'm saying? Some of you will be like, nah, no, I don't like reading. I'd rather do audiobooks. That's the problem right there. That's the problem right there. The story you tell yourself. If there's anything that annoys me is when people tell me that. I'm sorry. I love everybody, but if there's one thing that annoys me is when somebody tells me, yo, I don't like to read. I only like to listen to audiobooks. That annoys me. That's the truth. It just bothers me because I know it's a limiting belief. I know it's a limiting belief and it's comfort. Of course, who wouldn't want to just listen? Listening is just easier. You don't got to take notes. You don't got to hold the book in your hand. Reading is what takes real effort. Buying the book, sitting down for 20, 30 minutes and opening it. And this is the hard way to do it. And it's a skill. Skill is a skill. And you use more of your senses because think about it. When you listen, you're only listening to an audio or a podcast. But when you read, think about it. You're seeing it. You're listening because you're hearing your voice in your mind while you're reading it out loud. You're touching it, right? You're touching it. I mean, if you want to get that deep, you can smell the book, even though it don't smell like anything. But new books do have like that new fresh smell, you know? Like right here, like I could smell the new fresh pages of the book. And, you know, if you want to taste it, it's kind of weird, but you can also taste it if you really want to, you know? So in reality, there's more involved when you when you read a book than instead of just listening to it. More of your senses are involved. So we got to develop an obsession with self-improvement, which means you do it every single day. If you are not obsessed with self-improvement, then that's probably one of the reasons why you're not where you want to be at right now. Nano, how would you describe obsessed? That means you do it every day without anyone having to ask you to do it, rain or shine, regardless of what's happening in your life. If you can't say that, then you're not obsessed yet. If you're not waking up every single day and working on yourself, you're not obsessed. You want to be better. You have the desire to be better. You're making small progress to be better, but you're not obsessed with being better. If you want to be successful in life, you got to be obsessed with being better. All right. So that's number 3. And then last but not least, number 4, so we can wrap up this call, is control your identity and your reputation. Your reputation is your resume in business and life. If people don't trust you, they won't do business with you. So how do you control your identity and your reputation? By your work ethic, by your consistency, and by your personal brand. That's how you develop it. Your work ethic, people already know. People already know. Nano, he works hard. People already know I'm consistent. I just told you guys I've been doing mornings with Nano for 9 years. I mean, sorry, not for 9 years, for 5 years and 9 months. And my personal brand, Mornings with Nano, the Nano brand. My personal brand is growing each and every single day, year after year. And you know what's funny? All these things that now I'm reading, I had already been established with myself in a lot of these areas. Because if we look at the 4 points, right, it says study the most important product. I've taken the time to know myself better than anyone else and still learning myself. Number 2, we said define what drives you. I've already defined what drives me. My family and everything else has already driven me for months and years at a time. I already have an incredible obsession with self-improvement, and I've already controlled my identity and my reputation. This is so key. We got to take the time for ourselves, guys. I'm telling you, you got to fall in love with you. One day you'll look back and you'll be like, man, I remember when Nano would tell me year after year, okay? Year after year, he would tell me to invest into me. And look, it's happening now. So those are the 4 keys on how to develop and study the most important product, which is you. Put a 4 in the chat box if you guys got value from that. My guy, Robbie, was goody, bro. Study yourself, guys. If there's anything that I will tell you from this call, my biggest takeaway is develop an obsession with working on you. Because how many of us can actually truly say that we are obsessed with working on ourselves? How many of us can actually truly look at ourselves in the mirror with a straight face, with the hand on the Bible and say, yo, Nano, I am obsessed with my self-improvement? How many of us can actually say that? And I know it's not many. I know that. You don't even got to tell me. I know it's not many of us. I know it's not many. And that's the thing that holds us back the most, is that we are not dedicating our time, our energy, and our efforts to becoming better versions of us. We have to become obsessed with the idea of working on ourselves. That's what will help you, what will help your life, what will help your family, what will help your career, what will help your business, what will help everything. But you got to develop it. All right, guys. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys were able to get some insight. And I hope maybe this was the call. Look, I love that. I can confidently say I'm obsessed with self-improvement every single day. And that's the beauty of it. Giselle can say that. She wouldn't say that if she wasn't true about it. That's the beauty of it. We need more people like Giselle that are saying, hey, I am confidently obsessed with working on myself every single day. Confidently. She wouldn't say that if she wasn't working on herself. I know that because I can confidently say the same. Yes, hiring a coach would definitely help. I hired a coach. I had to hire a coach myself because it's the investment. The more you pay attention. That's how the game works, believe it or not. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. That wraps up today's call. Send this to anybody that needs to hear this message today. Obviously, the most important person that we can invest into is into ourselves, and a lot of people need to hear this. She'll share it with them. Go listen to the podcast. New podcast episodes are out. Go to morningswithnano.com. Mornings with Nano on Instagram. You can find it also on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Music, and yeah, I already saw it, Louis. But send it to me though. I like to see it to see if we're on the same one. But guys, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Quick little prayer, and then we'll wrap it up right there. Quick prayer. Father God, thank you so much for blessing us with this amazing life that you've given us. Today, we understood more than ever that the most incredible investment, the most important product that we can focus on and study is ourselves. And we are committed to that mission. We are committed to what it is that we got to do to work on ourselves. We're gonna find out what our strengths and weaknesses are. We're going to develop the best version of us. We're going to work on ourselves each and every single day. We're going to develop an obsession with looking for ourselves, finding the best versions of ourselves, but also building that relationship with you, God. So thank you for the awareness. Thank you for the knowledge. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for being there for us each